Our presentation is on Palladio, rural retreats, villas in the Veneto. Palladio and his career. Palladio is one of the most central figures in Renaissance architecture, but not just because of all the buildings he was involved in. Palladio published his theoretical project in 1570 titled I Quattro Libri dell'Architettura. This became one of the greatest architectural bestsellers of all time. This treatise clouded the issues surrounding Palladio's work as a practicing architect. Different than other architects. Palladio was born in Padua in 1508 and spent the first 33 years of his life in Veneto. Modern scholarship has recognized Palladio's reconstruction of ancient buildings as problematic. He did not have the same advantages as other architects. Palladio did not have access to Rome or its antiquities. Moreover, he did not appreciate the significance of Roman architecture. It was only his visits to Rome in the 1540s that opened his eyes. Palladio's interpretation of ancient architecture can sometimes seem arbitrary, yet he sought from it a validation of his own architectural theories. And increasingly in the latter part of his career, he expanded these ideas to include the laws governing nature as well. An expectation of symmetry in classic architecture often occurs in Renaissance reconstruction and can be seen in Palladio's work too. It was an aesthetic preference believed to have existed in ancient buildings. Villa Almerico, also known as La Rotunda. This is the most important among the Palladian villas. It has been considered for many years to be one of the only pieces of architecture that seems to have something new that has happened with its architectural design. This means that the unique conjunction of form, function, and site permitted Palladio the creation of an architectural manifestation hitherto unknown. Secondly, its design has been copied still presently by architects all over the world. The building is revered for both its connection to Roman classicism and an innovative design. It is inspired by the Pantheon in Rome. It was during Palladio's construction of this site that he published I Quattro Libri dell'Architettura. 2 pages in the book are dedicated to the Rotunda. They discuss the proportionality of structure and mathematical ideals involved in the Rotunda's construction. The structure is 4 square and bilaterally symmetrical, highlighting Palladio's mastery of classical geometric forms and symmetry.
This is one of Andrea Palladio's first villas ever that he built, as quoted in his 4 books of architecture. This looks very different from his future villas because this is built before his travels to Rome, where he studied ancient classical buildings. So this is a period when agriculture was a major investment for landowners. So they began to live in estates in which they can oversee their work and supervise their work. And wealthy landowners wanted a new kind of villa, which exuded an elegance and also efficiency. This particular villa stands on a slope called the Lonero Hill, overlooking the Astico River. And this villa simulates kind of like a tower and it to control the valley below. So this has 2 purposes. It's that of a farmhouse and also a palatial retreat. So it links the farm building with the house as represented in the plan by walls and colonnades. In the center, there's a flight of stairs that leads up to a triple arch entrance. It lacks the classical temple, and we have instead a country home, and it's symmetrical and it's organized along a central axis consistent of a loggia and a large hall.
Okay, here we have the Church of San Giorgio Majori. It is located on the island of San Giorgio in Venice, and it was built between 1566 and 1610 in the Renaissance style, all in white marble, and it is visible from across the Riva degli Schiavoni from the Piazza di San Marco. Now, the first church was built on the island in 790 AD. By 982, the island was given to the Benedictine monks by the Doge of Venice. In 1223, the church was destroyed by an earthquake, and it was quickly rebuilt. Around 1521, the monks were deciding to build an entirely new church, and in 1560, Palladio arrives to help with the construction of the new refectory. When that was completed in 1565, Palladio was asked then to prepare a model for a brand new church. This new model was approved and construction began in 1566. Palladio dies in 1580, so he did not see the church finished. But as per agreement with the stonemasons, the choir behind the altar and the facade were completed according to his designs. Just looking at the church leads the viewer to believe there are two separate facades. In fact, it is just an upper facade superimposed upon a lower one. The lower facade has a wide pediment that extends over the nave and both aisles and is supported by a single order of pilasters. The narrower upper pediment, which only extends over the nave, is superimposed on top of it, seemingly supported by a pair of engaged columns high on pedestals. The interior has a long basilican nave in the cross plan with transepts and a choir behind the altar. The interior is very bright due to several factors. The large windows let in a lot of light, which is reflected off the white surfaced walls. Now, these walls are mostly undecorated because of Benedictine monks that have kept control of the chapels inside the church. This left the decoration of the church up to them and not to rich families to decorate as they had pleased.
As we see here, we have Villa Barbaro. Villa Barbaro is located in Massa Veneto, or in the northern part of the Veneto region. Said villa was built between 1554 to 1558, though this is often disputed as well because others confirm that it's within the 1560s to the 1570s or 1580s. It's done in the Renaissance style, though by this point in his life, this style of architecture became officially known as Palladio. The Barbaro family commissioned the building of the villa, whom were a major family in the Veneto region at the time. This complex features the last church, Tempreto Barbaro, that he had any involvement in building before his death.
The Basilica Paladi is located in the city of Vicina and the Palladian villas of the Veneto. This is in northeastern Italy. It was constructed originally in the 15th century by Domenico da Venezia and called the Palazzo della Regione. The corners collapsed 2 years after it was built. In 1549, Palladio was picked at 40 years old after a contest to be the one to reconstruct it. It was finally finished in 1614 after his death in 1580. The most famous and distinguishing aspect he built into this design were the loggias. These are made of rounded arches supported by vertical columns and horizontal lintels. The loggias, as you can see in the two pictures, are a room or hall that is open to the outside air. This was mainly used to bring the air throughout the building and provide circulation. These specific architectural aspects are windows that have 3 openings in them, with the middle having an arch and being wider than the rest. Originally, this design was called the Serlana or Serlian motif because it came from Serlio's architecture and books. This design was also heavily based off of the Roman triumphal arch. It is now commonly referred to as the Palladian window or the Palladian motif after Palladio, and has been used in many designs since. In 1994, the basilica became part of the World Heritage Site and is still currently used for events. It also underwent a restoration in 2007 and won the European Union Prize for Cultural Heritage in 2014. Here are sources listed. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation.